My name is Rafael, you watch Rock and Roll Garage, and today I'm going to show you two bands that George Harrison was not a big fan of. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, George had the chance to see the evolution of rock and roll music up close, but there were many bands that he was not a big fan of. And back in the 90s, he mentioned two groups in an interview with Le Figaro, precisely in 1997. And the first one that he said he was not a big fan of was Oasis, the Britpop band led by the brothers Liam and Noel Gallagher. And at the time in 1997, they already had released the albums Definitely Maybe, the debut in 1994, What's the Story, Morning Glory in 1995. But although they had released those extremely successful albums, George Harrison was not a big fan of them. And in the interview with Le Figaro, he said they were not a very interesting band. And 1 year before that interview, Harrison had already criticized the vocalist Liam Gallagher in an interview with Independent Radio News. And this is what George said. He's like a bit out of date, you know? I mean, he's just silly. I feel a bit sorry for him, really, because I think he's totally missed the bus. I think it was proven when you see the band without him singing. You know, they're more in tune. I mean, he's just excess baggage, I think. All he does is make people think what a bunch of brannies they are. And this is what George first said about Liam. And obviously Liam was not happy with what George said, if you know his personality. And in an interview with MTV News, he replied to George's opinion at the time. And this is what he said. If that is his personal opinion, fair enough. I still love the Beatles. I still love George Harrison as a songwriter in the Beatles. But as a person, I think he's a fucking nipple. If I ever meet him, I will fucking tell him, if you're watching, nipple. He doesn't even know me. So what's he's on about? You know what I mean? So it goes to show all the time in the Beatles and all that fucking stuff that he's fucking stupid. He's the silly one because he reads the press. How's he know I'm silly? I've got 4 SGCSEs, mate. I'm not silly. So that's what that was Liam's response to George. And the curious thing is that probably the biggest Oasis hit is Wonderwall. And Wonderwall, the title for their hit, was inspired by the name of Harrison's first solo album, which is called Wonderwall Music. And during their career, they also covered a few Beatles tracks, and 2 of them were Helter Skelter and I Am the Walrus. And the second band that George Harrison mentioned it as being a band that he was not a big fan of, in this interview with Le Figaro back in 1997, was U2, the Irish, very successful Irish band led by Bono and The Edge, which also had the bassist Alan Clayton, Larry Mullen Jr. on drums. And this is what he said to Le Figaro. Will anyone remember U2 in 30 years? I doubt it. The Spice Girls? I doubt it. The advantage they have is that you look at them and cut off the sound. Well, those were pretty harsh words about U2 and the Spice Girls as well. But, well, obviously George was wrong about it because, I mean, Oasis is just a phenomenon, their reunion. Everything sold out practically. And U2 is still a very successful band. They have one of the highest grossing tours of all time. And they sold millions and millions of records. They have millions and millions of fans. But the interesting thing is that he also, in an interview in 1997 with The Independent, he talked a little bit more about U2, and he said, look at a group like U2. Bono and his band are so egocentric. The more you jump around, the bigger your head is. The more people listen to your music. So, well, that's another thing that he said about U2. And obviously, U2 was very influenced by the Beatles. And Bono, in an interview with CNN in 2001, he responded to George Harrison's comments. And this is what Bono said. Well, he didn't like U2 very much, but we loved him. We really did love him. I mean, the Beatles wrote the map for a group like U2, and he was a quintessential part of it. You know, brought a special songwriting genius that's easily overlooked. And the curious thing is that U2 had the chance to share the stage with Paul McCartney, George's ex-bandmate, and perform a Beatles song that happened in 2005 during the Live 8, and they performed with McCartney's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. If you want to read more, you can go to the description and visit the article we wrote about it. Okay? Thank you for watching, and I see you later.